Welcome to another Cougar Land podcast. We are here with Mike Ingalsbe. And Mike, it has been a while since I've seen you, or you have seen me, or if you even recognize me, because it's been so long. But you've been watching the podcast, so you obviously recognize me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which
That's good.
which ones have you been tuning into? Which ones have you seen so far?
I saw Derek Gould, Lisa Rolick, Mike Petty, and a little bit of Peter West and Mike Walker.
So some of the people that you may have known when you were there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So your years were, what were your years again that you were in Vicenza?
I was there from 81 to 84. So basically my sophomore through senior year.
Okay. So 81 to 84, senior year. So you were 2 years ahead of me. So I think we were in the same football team together, possibly.
Yeah. My junior year, I played for a little bit. I got Rosario gave me a concussion.
Oh, big Frank Rosario, yeah. That was a tank.
Yeah,
he was a
I was
tank.
going up for a pass and he clipped my legs and I did a header, and so I got a concussion. And then after that, I got mono, and I was quarantined in the hospital for 4 weeks. So
So you've had some training for COVID then.
Yeah.
Were you working remote before this, or is this a novelty?
No, I just started working remotely because of this.
And how is the remote work going compared to the office work?
I like it. It's fun. My wife and my son are both working from home, so that's nice. But my wife is going back to work shortly, and then I'm not sure when my son is, but actually he's going to be probably moving in his own apartment in the next month or so. So then it'll be just me, and we'll see how that goes.
You have the whole office to yourself, the whole complex.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll have to share it with the dogs, but.
Okay, well, they can visit. They're allowed. They're there to make sure that you put the right files in, like the movie Office Space. There's I'm wondering about that guy. Did you ever see the movie Office Space? The one that was always, you haven't seen the reference?
No.
Well, there's this guy that's just hanging around looking over everybody's cubicle. You have the TR-22 files in? How about those TR-22? He's just bugging everybody. He does nothing. So it's one of those management jobs. You're like, we don't know what to do with you during the Zoom days of work, right?
Right.
So where did you move to Vicenza from? Where did you come from before Vicenza?
I lived in Heidelberg, so for a year. Well, actually, it was 10 months, and then we came down to Vicenza. So my freshman year was in Heidelberg. Actually, Pam Parker came from Vicenza up to Heidelberg, and she was telling me when I told her I was going to Vicenza, she was all excited, telling me all the wonderful things about Vicenza, saying I was going to absolutely love it there, and so. She kind of eased my worries and concerns about coming down, but there's a big difference between Heidelberg and Vicenza. Heidelberg's a little bit bigger. They had 800 students, but it just felt bigger. And there's just something about Vicenza that's I have no interest in going back to any Heidelberg reunions or anything like that. But I'll go to Vicenza ones. I actually went one 20 years ago. But
how'd you like that? Was that you ran into some familiar faces or?
Oh yeah, it was in DC. It was actually kind of funny because a couple of years prior to that, we went to my wife's 10th anniversary reunion, and she was bored to death at her own reunion, and she had a ball at ours. She just thought it was interesting how everybody connected regardless of what year you were there. We were actually sitting at a table with people that were from the 70s, and the stories were the same, the names were different, but everybody pretty much had the same stories, and she just thought that was the neatest thing.
The only difference was they didn't have VCRs yet, and the SEB was a novelty. If you lived in Villaggio, you get SEB. I think when I got there, it wasn't even there yet. I came from Germany where they had American television going to the housing projects,
right?
When their version of Villaggio, and I'm like, oh great, and we get to Italy and no, you don't have this, you can't have this, and we didn't live in the housing anymore. We lived way off base on the other side of Vicenza. So having my little buddies when I walked downstairs, they were gone, so I get to know my Italian friends that way. Did you live in Villaggio or did you live off post somewhere?
No, we lived in Villaggio.
Okay. So, I mean, you get to know a lot of the kids and have different groups and friends that you met there, right?
Yeah, I hung out with Bobby Whitaker, Tony Cottrell, he lived off base. Mike Cuddy, Charles Donaldson,
Oh,
Charles
wow.
Flint, the Hammett brothers. Because we all lived in that corner of Bellagio.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've talked to Charlie. I was trying to get him on here. He's like, get this person in here. But some people do that to me when I try to get him on the podcast. They're like,
Uh-huh.
no, 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 get so and so on here. I'm like, wait, raise your hand. It's because the whole story is better when
Hmm.
everyone's sharing or they remember something that you didn't remember. You
Right.
know, like you probably forgot that time you guys were trying to jump your BMX bikes over the river, and now somebody brings that back. You're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. That's
Yeah.
what that's what I'm finding from this. So where did you like to take your trips to, or where did you and your buddies hang out? Did you like go downtown, or did you go other places?
Yeah. Yeah, we'd go downtown. We go to I guess it's called the Cab. The pizza place that was you go downstairs to on the other side of the square or plaza
Oh,
piazza.
the DLO. There we go.
Yeah, so we would go there. So we'd have pizza and our liter of beer there, and then we'd go bar hopping. We'd go to one bar for our rum and coke, and we'd go to another bar for a sambuca, and we'd go to another bar for whatever, and then just hit the various
Absolute,
bars and then made
absolute
sure we hit
freedom.
that. Yeah, and just made sure we hit that last bus. Otherwise, we were all running home. So
That was the number one bus. You
yeah.
know, yeah, I've had to truck it from there a bunch of times. I mean, oops, it's past the bewitching hour. You want to
Hmm.
get on that number one bus and then maybe catch the Villaggio bus part of the way through, or walk the back way to Villaggio for you guys, right?
Yeah, we would always walk the back and doing that cut through. I don't think they can do that anymore.
No, I don't think they can. I do remember a party over at Chaz's house, and you might have been there. His parents were
I
gone. That
probably
was a
was.
Yeah, it was a wild party. Him and his little brother, and they were having a great old time. I mean, that's over in the Provost Marshall area, which is funny, like right across the street. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the provost marshal didn't tell on him. What got Charles in trouble was he foolishly left a bag full of beer bottles in the backyard. Is what got him caught.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
he was pretty slick. Well, like, who have you kept in touch with? Have you been talking to Charlie, or have you talked to Chaz or any of these guys? Or
Yeah. I just got on Facebook probably in March. Ever basically since this thing started. It's just kind of like with the COVID and stuff like that. And I've been wanting to get back in touch with people, even with people that I went to college with that I let go. Um, so I've been really using Facebook to get in contact with people. But Teddy only lives about 10 minutes from me,
oh,
so
okay.
he and I will hook up occasionally, along with his brother Marcus, and occasionally if Ted has a party, James Greenwell will come down for the party, and so I see them. But I've been in contact with Sheila Henderson, Emily Miller, um, Michelle Rolick, um,
Wow,
Charles, and so
that's a good list. It's,
yeah.
it's interesting. You guys are all like nearby neighbors with Teddy, so you get access to the man who held it all together for years before
Oh,
the podcast,
oh yeah, yeah.
right?
He knows everybody.
Well, he is the ambassador. I mean, he started. And I'll give props to him every podcast that gets brought up, but he started that website before Facebook. And you're trying to find I heard a friend of yours might live here. Look him up in the phone book. Call information. That was the olden days before we had the internet,
Right.
right? And then you get the call. Oh, no, wrong one. Sorry, we didn't go to high school together. Next, you're cold calling. You're trying to figure out who's who. Um,
Yeah.
have you had a chance to go back to Vicenza ever since you grew up, or no?
No, I haven't. I haven't. I'm kind of torn on going back because I've heard that it's it's a lot different. So
Hmm.
there's that saying you can never go back home. So I mean, part of me would love to go back, but then part of me is thinking I might be disappointed with it. So I'm kind of going back and forth as to if I want to go back or
But
not.
we're going back online. It's the best we can do. You know,
Yeah.
so we did it here. We did it digitally, which is kind of synthetic, but it's pretty
Hmm.
cool. It's
Yeah.
not, and it's not exactly the same thing, but you do get that feeling. I'm sure when you hang out with Teddy and James Greenwell and Marcus, that you're like back in Vicenza. There's some Vicenza vibe going
Oh, yeah. We tell stories and who the and about other people and but also just normal day-to-day stuff as well. So
on. And it's interesting to
and
see everybody growing up, but you feel more attached to them in a different way than your civilian friends. Be-
yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling now that I've gotten on Facebook, I kind of have, reconnected with some of these people. It's kind of like there's a different feeling that I have that I didn't have then, and that I don't have. It's just like this instant connection, instant.
Hmm.
Because that was one of the things at the reunion. You're meeting these people that you hadn't seen in 20 some odd years, but it was like it was almost like it was yesterday, that we saw each other. And
We're all on the same sheet of music. It's like
right,
we're in a band.
right,
We used to be in a band together. Now we're hooking up
yeah,
and we still remember the songs. And that's
right,
the great analogy.
right.
It's
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah, like you and I, you and I didn't really know each other, but I feel like since
Same
we kind of
parties.
have the same, yeah, we
Sure.
have the same friends, same connection, same time frame, same experiences. You know,
Did you know Barry Pinicky and Freddie Parkins too?
I Freddie was there. I mean, Barry was there for a year. He was there, he left after basically he was there for his freshman year and left there. And then I heard that he came back, but I was already gone.
Yeah.
But I did know him. And yeah, I knew Freddie. Um, uh, Actually, one year during the summer, uh, Johnny Cohut was the supervisor for the pool for the lifeguards, and he'd formed a swim team. So me and Freddie and Marcus were on that team, along with Glenn Gordon and it basically it was all ages, but it was we were the high school kids. I think there was one other high school guy on there, but I don't remember who. But
Well,
yeah,
Freddie was high level. He was
oh
high
yeah,
level swimmer. Yeah.
he blew everybody out. I mean, he blew out. We had some really good swimmers. Mark was a really good swimmer. Um, and then God, who was the other one?
Well,
Oh,
Freddie and his
Glenn
Fred,
Gordon was a really good swimmer. In one of the races, we did a relay race, and we actually lapped everybody
that's pretty
because
awesome.
yeah, I mean, I had I did the freestyle final leg of it, and they're like, you better lap them. So,
Peer pressure.
because everybody had gotten such a strong lead, so I was like, all right, so yeah, so
Did
we
you
lapped
know
them.
did you know Mike Coley too? Because he was part of that gang too, right? He was part of
Yeah,
you guys.
I mean, I knew him. I mean, I didn't hang out with him, but I knew him. I mean, that was one of the things of at that school is, there was like 36 in my graduating class, so I knew all the seniors, all the juniors, all the sophomores.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
wondering which year, but I don't know if you went to any parties at Gina Miller's house with
no,
all those guys that you mentioned, because I remember them going to parties like that. But that might have been a year later. So you left in
yeah,
'84, right?
yeah, right.
Right. Okay. So where'd you go after Vicenza?
We went to Rhode Island. My dad went to the Navy War College,
Okay.
so I went to a small school called Roger Williams, about 2,500 students. So it was kind of nice going from a small high school to a small college. So I went there for a year, and then my dad was stationed at the Pentagon, and I came down here to go to George Mason. Had way too much fun at Mason. Realized I really need to get my degree, so I went back up to Rhode Island to Roger Williams and buckled down and got my degree.
Now there you go. You got focus. It's always the last minute cram test in life. You
Yeah,
realize, ooh, time, I get bills coming, responsibility. Dad's gonna
yeah,
take away the BMW keys. Better get on it right now. You know.
yeah.
Did you do any skiing over there in Italy while you were there?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, we go skiing, quite a bit. We go for a week during Christmas break. We would always it would be like the families of Cuddy, Donaldson, Adams, um,
Yeah.
us, and a few others would all go up to the Celarunda and spend a week there. So we did that almost every year. Or we did that every year.
Well, there was that ski
Um,
club on base. A lot of people
yeah.
belonged to it. I belonged to that. Went to a lot of different places. Some I
Uh-huh.
made it to, some I didn't, but I made it to a lot of serious ski slopes.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I met your buddy Chaz and Freddie Parkins and Mark Parkins when they were at Utah State when I was coming through my, A school training in the Navy. I went
Uh-huh.
on leave and I stopped there to visit them before I went to my ship in California. So they were in Utah, and it was just like Vicenza.
Yeah.
But it was college parties now.
Right.
And it was a good time. I went skiing, and the mountains were so much more steep and dangerous than they were in Italy. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't skiing. This is mountain death. What is this? I was like, I like the groom stuff. Mark likes to, hit the, you know, thigh deep powder. I'm like, what's the joy in this? Give it to me groomed. I don't know,
Right.
but it's all good. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. There's not much good skiing in on the East Coast.
yeah,
I went skiing a couple of times um, early on when I got back, but I haven't gone skiing since like '88.
right.
So I'd like
Yeah,
to go back. Go ahead.
you got to go somewhere like Breckenridge or somewhere cool, or Idaho, where there's some
Yeah.
good skiing. Sun Valley, California
Yeah.
has good skiing, so I've been skiing out here. It's a good place.
Yeah. I did when I was when we lived in California. I did go to I did ski Lake Tahoe. That
Yeah,
was that was a good place to go skiing. I did that a few times. Um, yeah, I've got cousins in Colorado who obviously ski and
hmm
love to do skiing, but um, I've got 3 discs in my neck fused with a plate in it, so it's like if
you
I
got to be a
fall,
little
yeah,
careful
if
with
I
that.
fall, yeah, if I fall, I'm done. So my wife won't let me.
I'm going to pay the price, no matter what the price is. I'm paying it. Okay.
Yeah,
So like when you see all this, like you like, I understand the memory of not wanting to go back to see what it isn't, because I know some
mm,
people have had that experience. I think
right.
Lisa talked about that. My brother was like, yeah, you go there with a car and you're here in one side and the other in 15 minutes
Hmm.
because you have a car. You're not on your feet walking what seemed like 100 miles, which was only probably 5 or 6,
Right.
right?
But yeah, obviously the buildings are the same because I've been there for 600-700 years or however long. But I just have a feeling that like Bellagio is, I don't know if you look on Google Maps, Bellagio is pretty much half of it's gone.
Right.
Uh, and not that I would be able to go on Bellagio because I'm not military anymore, but um, I just have a feeling like the places we'd hang out aren't there anymore. That kind of that kind of
Monteberico, you get Monteberico still, but that's
oh, is
probably
it?
one of the few. I mean, Monteberico is going to be there. They're not going to take down the mountain, of
Right.
course. But that was a place I'd go with the guys sometimes. Um, and some things are the same, but a lot of things are not the same. And
Yeah.
I have friends that still live around there and talk to people that still do, and they're like, yeah, the base, like people aren't leaving the base. It's got a big movie theater. It's got a mall. It doesn't just have the Four Seasons and the PX and Foodland, the basics, right?
Right.
Like I need to go to this store to get a bicycle, and this store to get some sneakers, and this place to get some popsicles. Okay, we're good. We get it figured out.
Mm.
And the snack bar is our fast food joint. It's our cafeteria basically. So
Right.
it was a simpler time.
Oh yeah.
But what was some of your fondest memories? What did you like? Was it a great trip? Did you take a good field trip or a overnight or a sports trip that you really enjoyed?
Um, well, I was a lifeguard the 3 summers I was there, so I loved that. Um,
Well, we
that
worked
was a
together then. We must have.
I, I think
Bellagio pool, right? Or the
yeah,
officers club. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, probably the summer before my senior year, if you were
Yeah.
a
I
lifeguard
think I was a
then.
lifeguard from 8th or 9th grade on. So that
Okay.
would be 83. Yeah.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
have been
Then
lifeguarding.
yeah. Then yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah. So we played. I mean, because so you were there when Koha was the supervisor.
I think so. When Johnny was there,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if Rich was there or I know one of the Millers was there. I'm trying to think of which years you were there, like, and I was there at the same time.
Yeah.
Did you? I think it was Richard Collins. No, I don't know if
No.
it's Richard Collins. No, 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 it's another guy. You know, I'll have to remember the name. Sorry for the misplacement of my
Oh.
brain.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah. No
good.
worries.
No, but so you were there probably 83, 84?
I didn't. They wouldn't let
No, no,
me.
no. 84, you were leaving, right? So you didn't
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They
83.
didn't. Actually, there was. I think it was you.
Yeah.
The summer of '84, they
Hmm.
wouldn't let me be a lifeguard because we were moving, and because
Oh, okay.
they told me that everybody wants to be a lifeguard, so they weren't going to give me a position only for me to leave halfway through the summer. So um, I was
That had
at the
been me.
pool. I was at the pool because it was like maybe on a weekend or something, and I think it was you, or it was either you or Mark. You were on the stand, and you wanted to either go to the restroom or something like that. And you're like, can you watch the? I wasn't working as a lifeguard. It's like, can you watch the stand for me? And I'm like, sure. So I climb up on the stand and I'm just sitting there, watching and stuff like that. And I think the supervisor at the time was like, who are you and why are you here?
Was it a sergeant, a NCOIC, a guy with a hat and some Ray-Bans?
Yeah.
That guy was great. I love that guy. He threw great pool parties. He probably
Yeah.
did stuff that he probably, I don't know his name, so he has plausible deniability. All I know is I used to take his NCOIC hat that says, non-commissioned officer in charge, and put on his Ray-Bans and go impersonate him at the little food land and go buy beer. I was only probably 15. I was 15. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, put on my specs, just walk in, impersonate the guy. Yeah, Sergeant Dempsey, nice to see you. It was just, and it worked great. So that was a great summer. We had some epic pool parties that time. We'd shut them down on the weekends. You remember those?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the summer of '82, we had a party at the end of the year party, and we had spilled so much beer in that pool that if you were in the pool, you could taste the beer. I mean, it was just, I felt sorry for the Italians who were going to have to clean that pool out because I mean, I guess they're going to have to drain it anyway. But yeah, I don't know how many cans of beer was tossed in that. The open cans of beer was tossed in that thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, beer was so cheap. I mean, you could buy a case of Heineken for $6 if you wanted some really, low-level beer. You could get some, I'm trying to think of the other brand, but yeah, they were Stroh's. Yeah, Stroh's.
Yeah.
It was like $3.50, $4 a case, but it tasted like water after you get used to Heineken.
Oh yeah.
But I thought Heineken was luxury beer. To me, it's not really the most luxurious beer in Europe, but to them it is. It's kind of like Stella Artois is like a big deal to us Americans. And in England, that's like their Mad Dog 2020. It's like their gut rock beer. They're like, I was in Spain and with my wife, and these British guys are like talking smack. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna get this Stella. He's like, oh, you drink it Stella? I go, yeah, I know it's your poor person's beer where you live. I go, but you guys think Budweiser's cool, so back at you, pal.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny, yeah. But
it's actually funny. When I was in college, we drink, Milwaukee's Best and, cheap stuff like that.
Mickey's.
My son, what's that?
Mickey's.
Oh yeah, Mickey's. Yeah,
horrible stuff.
Yeah. My son graduated from Virginia Tech. Not this May, but the 2019, and he's drinking Heineken, Stella Artois, all this expensive stuff. I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's like you should be drinking, Miller Lite or
Mad Dog 2020. There you go.
You need to be drinking this cheap stuff, not the good stuff. But
that's how it works. Well, it's funny. Like, who have you been looking to connect with or haven't seen in a while or would like to see on the podcast?
Yeah, I would like to get back in touch with Lori Adams, and Bobby Whitaker, Tony Cottrell, and those guys. Almost anybody. Just.
You had a Villaggio crew. I didn't live in Villaggio, so imagine.
Right.
I would just bop into some places or stay at a friend's house, and let's say I'd stay at Mark Rivera's house, so I'd get to know some Villaggio people. I think you might remember Mark Rivera. His dad was a command sergeant major. He was by the front thing of post, by the front gate. When you're coming into Villaggio, you got past that little right in and to your left, right when you go into the entrance. Yeah, the old entrance.
Right.
And yeah. So, I mean, you get to know more people in Villaggio if you're hanging out and you're going to the basketball court and you meet a different group of kids, or you go to one guy's house, other kids would show up, and it was or who's waiting at the bus stop, and they're like, these guys are cool, but I'm going over here. These guys get a new VHS movie to watch or something.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess after Germany, it was more of a private school. It was more personalized after being in such a big school, right?
Well, yeah, because I mean, also we were so small that you were seeing the same people in the same, in multiple classes each day. So
you all had a starring role in the sitcom. You're not extras like you would be in Germany. Yeah, I saw that kid once. I don't know his name. He was playing tennis. I don't know who he is, right?
Yeah, but the one thing though is if you do something stupid, everybody knows about it.
Oh, for sure. But I don't remember if you did anything, so we're good, man.
Oh no, I did one thing that got arrested by the Italian police once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. me and Bobby Whitaker and Mike Cuddy were walking downtown, and the police car was going in the opposite direction. They passed us, stopped, and called us over. So we're walking towards them. We're pulling out our wallets to show, to show ID, and the guy starts searching Bobby, and pulls out Bobby was carrying a switchblade, so he pulls out the switchblade. Didn't realize, but the cop had gotten behind me. So the second they pulled out the switchblade, I was thrown against the trunk of the police car. Mike Cuddy was slammed against the side of the rear door of the car. Started searching him. They found a buck knife on him, and
Oh yeah.
and then and all I had was a little Swiss Army knife. They pull out the little Swiss Army knife, and they keep searching me and searching me and searching me. And they're like, "That's all I have is this little Swiss Army knife."
They're like, where are the weapons, right?
Yeah. So they put us in the police car. They take us to the police station, and we're waiting there for I don't know how long. And all these prison movies are going through my head. Like, oh great, I'm going to be locked up in an Italian prison. I'm not see the light of day. I'm nervous as all get out.
They're gonna torture me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
well,
yeah. I'm gonna
I
have to
didn't
dance. I'm gonna have to dance for money here. No, go on.
Yeah, yeah. And so the MPs finally show up, and they're like, okay, we need to call your parents. Where are your parents? Well, it just so happened that all three of our parents were out in separate places. They weren't hanging out. They were, and this was before cell phones, so you couldn't just call them.
Mm-hmm.
And the MP's like, seriously, I need to know where they are. I can't get you out of here until your parents. Like, look, I'd tell you if I could, but
this is the 1980s, pal. Don't you think we have cell phones? Right.
Yeah. So fortunately, they got in contact with my dad and Whitaker's dad, and my dad said that he would vouch for Mike Cuddy. And so they brought us back to the MP station, and my dad and Whitaker's dad were waiting for us. And my dad thought it was funny because all I had was a Swiss Army knife. Whitaker's dad wasn't too happy because Whitaker's dad told him not to bring the switchblade downtown because it was illegal. So, but nothing came of it. I had to go before a judge, and the judge was like, "You didn't know it was illegal to carry a Swiss Army knife, right? Right. You're never going to carry a Swiss Army knife or any other knife again, right? Right.
You'll never be prepared, and even when you're camping, you will just use your bare hands from here on
That's
out."
right. So yeah. So it was like, all right, get out of here, kid. So, and Whitaker just moved. It was actually moving like 3 weeks later, so it was like nothing for him. And I think the same thing with Mike. With the judge was like, get out of here. But that's one of the things that's different between Italy and the United States. They didn't have probable cause, but in Italy they don't have. Here if you don't have probable cause, it gets tossed out. Whereas there,
you're guilty till proven innocent. That's the law.
Right. You can still be charged even though they didn't have probable cause. We found out later that the cop that stopped us hated Americans, so probably some GI stole his girlfriend. So.
Possibly somebody beat him on a 0 to 60 launch in his Fiat 500 versus like a Trans Am, and he hated them ever since. And every time he'd find a copy of Smokey and the Bandit, he'd burn it. But I'm kidding. Yeah. To me, I don't know. I understood because Americans actually appeared more arrogant to them, and they had movies and all that stuff. So, I speak Italian. I understand the culture. It's all about respect. But you don't realize you're off-putting people sometimes with your, Fonzie, macho, Americano, style.
Well, yeah. One time we had an Italian class come visit us, and we asked them if an American was wearing Italian clothes, would you still be able to pick them out? And they're like, absolutely. You can tell who an American is regardless of what they're wearing because they walk around and they strut. And, they walk with a swagger and they strut, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess we do. So
we did watch the second follow-up to Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Fever, where John Travolta says, "I'm going to go out and strut," and maybe we adopted it from that. I forget the name of that movie, but no, I didn't model my life after that. I'm bullshitting, but you get my point. Yeah, it's funny. We did have that American way. It's just like I can pick out a GI based on their posture and the way they carry themselves. You can see the military bearing in the way that they, their body language. And it's the same thing with Americans over there, where there's more of a humility, and then there's like, I'm American,
right.
check me out. Let's go to roller disco. Did you take any good team club trips anywhere? Did you do any good overnights?
No, it's funny. I've heard all these stories about people going on team club trips, and it's like, damn, where the hell was I? I wish I had gone on some of those. I don't, I never did. I don't know if I was just kind of oblivious to it. I don't know why I never did, but
Oh,
they
any
sound
any
like,
sports trips or anything like that?
oh yeah, I mean, I was on the soccer team, and then I was on the football team for my sophomore and junior year. So yeah, going down to Rome and for soccer or Milan, um, those were good. I did the Model UN. That was a lot of fun. Um, that was really a lot of fun because actually Charles and I were staying at the same place, um, and then they had a huge party for everybody um, that night, and it was really neat to see people from the Milan High School and other DoD schools and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. Um,
That's pretty interesting because I think Steffo went to go on to actually work for the UN. Steffo Lehman.
uh-huh.
Yeah, he might have been. He was younger than me, and you're about a year older than me, I think. So he is a year or two younger, maybe. So I don't know if you guys were in the soccer at the same time, but
Yeah,
he was.
yeah, he was on my senior year. He was on the soccer team.
Okay. Yeah, he made
So
it then. No, he was good. He was a great soccer
no,
player,
he was very
natural.
good.
Yeah, he had the look and he had the soccer. He had it going on.
Oh
And
yeah,
even though he was, in the UN, he did bring up his liking of butane, which is great. I'm glad that a guy at that high level position can go into that. Uh, I don't know if you know the reference. You'll have to watch the video. But you know, it's interesting to catch up with people, and as you talk, you reconnect on some of the memories, on some of the
uh-huh.
experiences. Like I'll ask you, did you ever go on this or that? So if you were playing football, you might have went to Sigonella, Aviano.
Right,
Those were the only two, in Naples.
right.
Did you go on those?
Yeah, I went to Aviano, went to Naples. Never went to Sigonella. The 2 years that I played, I was on the team where Sigonella or Brindisi came up to us. So I didn't. I
I didn't know
didn't.
if they had it. Did they really have a team in Brindisi? I didn't know if they did or not.
Yeah, the sophomore year, they had a Brindisi. They had a team from Brindisi.
I don't know exactly how big that base Brindisi. I went there. It didn't seem like I couldn't tell what the population of the kids were. It seemed like
It was
Livorno was smaller, Aviano was close in size,
right,
and Naples was as big or
bigger.
bigger. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
but
and Brindisi and Livorno, I think, were the two smaller ones.
yeah, because Brindisi, Livorno, and Sigonella, they all played. If they had a football team, they played 8-man football.
Yeah,
So, um, so Brindisi, my sophomore year, um, gold team went down to Brindisi, and then I was on the white team, and we played Livorno, I think, yeah.
Aviano or Naples.
You know,
I don't
because
think we
what they
ever
did is
played Livorno. I don't think we ever played Livorno. I don't think they
yeah,
ever had a team.
when they had the 8-man, they would have to split the bigger schools into two teams, and you couldn't
Hmm.
have the same person play against both of the
They made some
the
smaller.
the Brindisi or Sigonella. Yeah, my sophomore year they had Brindisi, Sigonella, and Livorno all had 8-man teams. So um, the gold and white team played each other to see who would be able to go, who would go to Brindisi and play them.
That was a
So
monster ride. That's no prize. That's 13 hours on a bus. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That was no prize. Hell,
I
Naples was
think.
a long ride.
Oh yeah. No, I think that one. I think they went on train because it was so long. I think they did go on a train for that one, for
That makes
Brindisi.
more sense.
Yeah, but and then they ended up losing. so
Well,
so
come on, you're worn out by the time you get there. You're like,
oh yeah,
yeah. You're not, when you were a kid, you were naturally energetic, but you don't realize that your superpowers are wearing down by the day. Because,
right,
you eat a candy bar, you pack up for 20 minutes.
yeah.
But it's pretty interesting. You get the sports ride. So you did some skiing. Did you do any sightseeing? Did your family take you on any trips anywhere?
Oh yeah, that was one thing that my parents did. We went all over. We went to England, Ireland, Scotland, Austria. Went to East Berlin, um, So, and then when we lived in Germany, we went to France
Belgium,
and then, yeah, we went to Belgium, we went to Holland.
Switzerland,
Um,
of course, it's on the way.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
you go through Switzerland. So, Austria. So yeah, I mean, I hit almost every, yeah, I hit every Western European country except for Spain and Portugal.
those are
So
awesome. I recommend them.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
on my bucket list.
yeah, you got to do
Yeah.
those. I just did them like less than a year ago, and I was really impressed, and I really like it, and may end up living there because I can. But it's the only climate like California that I found, without the humidity, at least on the islands,
uh,
and the water is more swimmable because the water here is cold. But
oh yeah.
you probably have more four seasons where you live.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we can go to Virginia Beach and get in the ocean, and the water's not too cold. But yeah, I remember I lived in Monterey, um, my junior high, and also sixth grade, and we'd go to Santa Cruz. But you can never do the beach and boardwalk, but you can
Right?
never. But you really couldn't go swimming. I would, but
It
you
was
couldn't
cold.
stay in it for. Yeah, you couldn't stay in it for very long.
Hypothermia. We know this
Yeah,
from lifeguard talk. But
yeah.
no, I still dove in it. Some hot summers, I still do it. I don't care. I'm a polar bear, I guess. But my mom lives in Cape Cod, so we've been up there a lot. That's near where
Oh,
you were
wow.
living, Rhode Island.
Right.
So it's good for swimming. Great, lot of beaches and stuff. So the East Coast is good for that in the summer, but the humidity is the novelty, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
old man talk when you're talking about the weather. you know,
Yeah.
how's that weather? When I call my friends, how's the weather? No, just kidding. But used to when you were a kid, you hear older guys talking about that. You're like, oh
Oh,
crap, I'm that guy now. You
yeah.
know. Well, have you kept in touch with Mike Cuddy? Have you talked to him? I know, like I said, I talked to
Uh,
Charlie.
no, I tried after the reunion in DC 20 years ago. I called him up, but he didn't seem like he wanted to
Reminisce.
yeah, reminisce or have any dealings with anybody from Vicenza. I mean, I hooked up with him because after he left Vicenza, he came to Northern Virginia.
Hmm.
And so like in the summer of '85, when we moved down here, I hooked up with him and Molly Solomon, and because she was living in Northern Virginia as well at the time. And we went skiing
There
during
was a
Christmas
ski
break.
trip. Yeah, you
Yeah,
went on a ski trip. Go
yeah,
Vicenza, right?
we went skiing um, during Christmas break of that year. Um, but when I tried to hook up with him, he just didn't really seem
I,
all that interested.
I've had friends like that or Navy buddies. Like, I never want to talk about the Navy again. And there's a couple people that are never want to talk about Vicenza again, but they
Yeah,
will see the podcast and that'll change
yeah,
because they'll realize what a group of people they, have in common, have a big commonality with in the
right.
experience. And the thing that did make us all a little, not always awkward, but a little different than the people we would run into once we came back to the States. You'd meet a
Yeah.
kid or your coworker's never been 20 miles out of the same town or things
Oh
like
yeah.
this, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah. I would tell um, my coworkers, yeah, I saw the a Russian ballet do Romeo and Juliet in the Verona amphitheater. And Verona is obviously where Romeo and Juliet was based out of. And it just blew their mind. Or the Italians were trying to form a professional football league, and so we played this professional football team in the Verona Coliseum. So I can say that I played a professional football team.
exactly,
Um,
right?
in a Coliseum, in basically not the Roman Coliseum, but a Roman Coliseum. So it just and then also just doing the field trips to Venice and Padua and everywhere else that we went, and trips to Rome, and
But
it
that's a
just blew.
unique marker where you get to play
Right,
football. No one else in America that has done what you've done except the guys that run that team. So like you and 8 other people, you and 10 other people got to
right.
do this, and no one else ever did ever again or
Well,
before, more than
well,
likely.
also, yeah, and also the fact that we were so small that a 110-pound slow guy could play football. Because I was small then. I only weighed my sophomore year. I weighed 110. My sophomore year, our junior year, I weighed 115, and I graduated weighing 118. You know,
Wow.
there's no way, you know, I'd be able to play, you know, football here. You know, and also one of the things that, you know, did you go to? Speaking of the teen club, did you go to a lot of those dances and stuff?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
I usually was drinking behind the building.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we all were.
of course. Over by those
Yeah.
picnic tables or by the benches or in the bushes. But go on.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was also something that we had um, that people in the States don't have. Like I was talking to my son, you know, when he was in high school, I was like, so, you know, do you guys have any dances? It's like, yeah, homecoming and prom. It's like no Sadie Hawkins dance, no other dance just for the heck of it. It's like, no, just those two. So, you know, so I
It,
think,
it was the premise of the time because
right.
we were overseas, so they wanted to keep us idle minds and time, whatever that old saying is. Too much time
Yeah.
on your hands, the kids will go light, bottle rockets off at in some colonel's yard, of course. So they wanted to keep us
Oh,
at dances, right?
speaking of bottle rockets, we were in the piazza, um, and some Italian kids about our age shot a bottle rocket off in our general area. I don't think they were trying to hit us, but it came very close. And we happened to have a bunch of bottle rockets. So we had this bottle rocket war in the middle of the piazza with these Italian kids. They shoot off some at us, we'd shoot some off at them, or trying to avoid getting hit with these things. You know, and the people up in the apartments above were looking out like, what the what's going on? But you know, and once we all ran out, we was like, okay, see you later. And
Ciao,
we,
ciao,
yeah,
ciao.
yeah,
Yeah. So it works. Did you also know Stickman,
oh
John
yeah,
Hackett? Yeah, I figured he was in that crew too.
yeah,
That's kind of that
yeah.
Bellagio crew. You saw him?
I saw him about 10 years ago. Um, his mom lives not too far from me, um, so he came to visit his mom, and um, he was I think he was getting deployed again, or because
Yeah.
he was in the reserved and then got called up for active duty. So I think he was visiting his mom because he was going to get deployed again. So, but
That's cool. He grew up to be a much bigger guy.
oh yeah, he filled out. I mean, he was pretty tall
Yeah.
in high school, but yeah, he just filled out. Um, I filled out the other way.
You're like, no, I'm 7'2". No, I'm kidding. No, he
No,
was no, it's like everybody I put on some size in school for sure. I grew taller. I grew taller when I was in the Navy, you know. I was like 5'11" when I left and get to 6'2" in the Navy. I'm like, what happened? I'm still growing, before I turned 21.
oh
Yeah.
wow, that must have been kind of difficult with being on a ship, being that tall.
Well, yeah, and some things you got to watch yourself. I mean, our ship was pretty wide open. We're in an ammo ship. I think in a submarine, I would have bumped my head a few times more. It wasn't too bad. I mean, there were some guys that were taller, and they might have had a hard time, but it's
Mhm.
manageable, as long as I kept in shape. I mean, if you get real hefty on a ship, it's going to be hard to get through some of those spaces. You're going to get stuck. Yeah, that's possible too. Um,
So you were on a supply ship? Is that what,
an auxiliary ammunition supply ship. Yeah.
oh, okay.
It was fun. I mean, we had all the bombs and stuff. It was a floating bomb. It was a death trap, but it was cool.
Jeez.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Um, no, I get deployed overseas to the Desert Storm. So like a lot of those missiles and bombs that were dropped off came from a certain source that I was part of. So I get to see what that was all about. And it was not, like, oh, we're going to go to a war. I didn't think we were going to a war. Oh, we're going to war. Okay. And that's nothing I was expecting to do after high school. But I didn't expect us to have a war forever after living so many years in the Cold War in Vicenza.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Is
yeah,
it,
you
so
know,
this is the Gulf War?
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. I was there, and then I was in for another, I think about three more years in, and then I get out.
Okay.
But the Navy wasn't what I was expecting to do. I'm glad it took me all around the world. But it's funny, after I get out, I stopped traveling all around the world again until I met my wife. I'm like, my wife's like, let's go. And I basically put down the travel, the passport for over 20 years. I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I traveled in the States, but I wasn't
Right.
going overseas anymore. And I was like, I get this, been there, done that kind of mindset. So going back to Europe's been great. It's really
Oh
been
yeah,
invigorating.
yeah, because you look at it with a different viewpoint. Like I told you the other day, we went to Ireland a couple of years ago, and I just totally geeked out with everything, even though I'd been there before. But living in Europe, you kind of get jaded because it's like, okay, yeah, I've seen another cathedral, yeah, it's another cute town. But I think as you get older, you really appreciate it much
Well, you
more.
do crave what you can't have of the scarcity. The grass is greener.
Right,
You're in
right,
Italy. You're like, man, I wish I was watching HBO and Showtime right now.
right,
Why do I have to
right,
wait for a stupid tape to get mailed to me with these movies from last month?
right.
But, in the same time, the Italians were not going to see these movies for 5 years later. So
Yeah.
we were kind of ahead. But I don't know why I thought of this. We talk about movies and TV a lot when we're there. I remember one of the teachers got a special screening of Star Wars when I was
Oh
like
wow.
in 5th or 6th grade. And we went to this Italian movie theater to watch it. And the Post wouldn't see it for a year or two later.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was really, and I was like, that's the most amazing thing ever. And unlike a VCR or having a tape or a cassette, that
Hmm.
didn't come out for years. You couldn't get that and beat that movie up,
Oh yeah.
because I wanted to see it again and again and again. And it was
Oh
like
yeah.
one off, absorb as much as you can. This is amazing, and then it was done. But then I didn't become a major Star Wars fan after that. I didn't even follow the next movies. I was like, I started watching when I got them done. And crazy enough, the second Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, there's those big things on the four legs walking,
Right.
those crane things.
Yeah.
Well,
AT something something.
yeah, well, those things, he based them on these cranes that were in by the base by my ship in Oakland.
Oh wow.
Yeah, with these cranes. I'm like, oh, I go look at those cranes. I go, that looks like Star Wars. Then I find out like 20 something years later, oh yeah, he made it on those. I'm like, yeah, great imagination. Turn those cranes into walking monster tanks, whatever. So, we get some of that sideways thing, but excuse me, I did not. I went to a reunion about 8, 9 years ago, I
Okay.
think, in Texas. It was a lot of fun. And like you said, the older people from different classes, not that they're super old, but they might
Hmm.
have been 5 or 10 years older than you. You can
Right.
relate. You can relate on that vibe, and that's when you realize, oh, I'm a member of this special thing because
Right.
if 1% serves the military, then you're the kids of those people that serve, and a high majority of the military don't have kids. So let's
Right.
say half of whatever 1% is
Right.
equal, and of the percentage that do serve, a lot of their kids are in the States, so we're like a fraction of a fraction.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you like no one else get to be, you went with 46, 48, 38 kids in your class, were the only kids in the world doing what you did,
Right.
you know
It must have been interesting though for you because you were there from like fifth grade on.
70, no, 5 years old,
Oh, 5 years
1972
old. Oh,
1972 to 1987, like
but it
almost
must have been
13 years.
but it must have been interesting for you. In a sense, you were almost like a military kid because it's like in that even though you stayed there for so long, everybody would rotate
Yeah,
every 3 years. So every 3 years, you're having to get new
but I get new
friends.
friends every year because
Right.
that year wasn't on the 3 years, it was every
Right.
year, every half a year.
Oh yeah.
New kids at Christmas. I
Right.
mean, a new girl would come to town and guys would try to talk to her first. Hi,
Right.
I'm the coolest guy in town. No, I am.
Right.
No, I am. Because they're like, you know, it was their 5 minutes of salesmanship, like a car
Oh
lot.
yeah.
But it's funny because I look at that and I go, yeah, I live there and I watch people come and go. So I get used to people coming and going. And me
Right.
doing a podcast, like, yeah, hey, I was there when you were there for 13 years of people. Right.
Right.
So there's probably 1,000 people that I met in Vicenza at minimum.
Right.
Minimum.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, let's just say that 350 kids rotated at least half the amount of time. Let's just say every 2 years. So at least 750, 1,000 kids I met, and their parents, their brothers, their sisters.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
So yeah.
so
So you definitely have a unique perspective by being there. And then I guess there was some people who were there not as
as
long as you,
as long or
like
longer, the Layman's were there their whole life.
yeah.
Stefo and Dina, and the Richies were there their whole life, as they were there before me.
Mhm.
I think the Millers were there forever, and then much after me. You know, so there was these
Yeah.
groups
Lisa
of
Rowland,
people. Hmm?
yeah, like Lisa Rowland, she was there from like 79 or something like that. So and Lisa was in your grade, what? She was in your
You're
class?
younger. You're younger, I
Oh,
think. Yeah.
oh okay.
Yeah. And that's so we'd all know each other. You guys, I knew your clique. I knew which guys you were hanging out with. I was hanging out
Right,
with a different one.
right.
We wore like high leather boots and disco pants. I'm kidding.
I got I gotta ask. I heard a rumor there was some. This happened in '85, so this happened after I left. That there were some people who were selling beer out of the gym locker.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you were you involved in that?
I was purchasing them. It was more of Chaz's little group, his little
Ah,
DLO guys. It was their senior year, so they'd have a locker in the locker room, and they would stuff it full of beers, and you just get the combo, put the coins, and take your beers out. So they were like, it was their senior year, so some of them had turned 18, like Freddie Parkins and
mhm,
Chaz and all these guys. So yeah, it was a blast. I think Mark and I started partying well before Freddie and Chaz and all them. That came later, but then Chaz was the first guy to kind of organize his little DLO club at the cab, you know, the Drinking Liberation Organization,
ah,
you
jeez.
know. So that was a thing. I mean, Mark and I lived out in two different parts, like probably I think it's like 7, 8 miles maybe each away from Villaggio.
Mhm,
So that wasn't like our backyard. So you get to know people by proximity, and I'll say it again
right.
and again. And if you were a Verona kid, you knew the Verona crew because you and them
Oh
were
yeah.
going back and forth, right? And then you knew the Verona kids once in a while if they stayed at a friend's house, but you didn't know
Right.
them that much, you
Right.
know? And so there was always that. And, the Verona kids had a lot of freedom too. So there's different groups of people doing different experiments at different
Right.
places, right? Um,
Yeah, that was one of the things that when I came back to the States, I was where my dad was living on base, and I was waiting for my school to start up in the fall, and so I was hanging out with the high school seniors, and they had this attitude of if they couldn't get alcohol that weekend, the weekend was shot. They absolutely had to have their alcohol, and it just like and at that time, Rhode Island had changed the drinking age to 21 a couple of years prior, so they weren't grandfathered um, into it, or they either didn't grandfather it like Virginia did, um, but the situation was that the seniors couldn't drink, and so it was a game of trying to find the liquor store that would sell to them or find somebody that would buy them.
Go tapping. Yeah.
Right. But it was kind of comical about, we got to get alcohol, otherwise the weekend's ruined. I'm like, really? It
You
wasn't
do so
that.
much with or without it. I could have fun
Yeah,
without it,
right.
just depended.
But it was just kind of the mindset of that they had was just, and maybe because it was so readily available to us,
Oh,
you
we
go
were big
downtown.
shots. We were grown-ups by the time. I
Oh
remember
yeah,
being underage walking into a bar at like 19, and I just had the body language of someone that knew how to be in the environment.
right,
They didn't question me.
right.
You know,
Well, I mean,
they
and it was,
carded a bunch of other guys, but not me.
yeah,
But then I was with one of the 49ers girlfriends. So, or whatever, some girl that dated one, I'm not sure, but
yeah,
that was just a girl I was talking to. She'd get me in the bar. I'm drinking. I'm like, haha. And they carded all these college dudes. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, I'm younger than all these dudes. They have beards and stuff, but it was just attitude.
oh
But
yeah,
it was the thing about being readily available. It was strange for me to join the military stateside. You couldn't drink. Then
hmm,
you get overseas and you're in the Philippines and you're in Japan and you're everywhere else and you're in Hong Kong and you're partying, you know,
right,
but come back to States, you're a little kid again.
right,
So that was a strange thing, but that's how it went.
yeah.
And trust me, we found our ways. But I don't know. The kids in the States didn't have that experience that we did. They didn't have that freedom. We had freedom, man.
No. Yeah, and what was cool is the parents, all the parents knew it, but they didn't care. They knew we were going downtown drinking, as long as we came back and made that last bus, otherwise we were running, but we all made it home. I'm kind of curious as to what it's like now, whether because society now is completely different. I wonder if the kids there have the same freedom
That'd
that
be
we have.
funny. Be funny to get some kids. Hey, I got a couple seniors from Vicenza. What's up, dude? They're like on the podcast, and they're like, and here's these older people that like you're supposed to be authority figures. Hey, do you still party at the cab? The totally bad parent on the podcast, right?
Right.
All grew up and had
Yeah.
kids now. Harumph,
Stay,
harumph. Oh, I will have none of that. They're trying to
Yeah.
pretend to be the opposite. That we all become hypocrites at some point, right? Because I
Oh,
don't think the wild youth stories are the same as those wild youth stories, and I don't think a lot of the kids leave because of different, terrorist threats and stuff. I don't think they leave the post that much. There's more
right.
crime
Yeah.
there. There's more gangs and death and people that are trying to get through Italy to get to Germany because they're migrating. They're getting off a boat and they're
Right.
hungry. I mean, they're going to do what they got to do.
Yeah. Which is a shame, but also just in you know
It's just another bigger picture, better, clearer picture of what's really going on in the world when it ends up
right.
at your house. You're like,
Right.
oh, I didn't know how good we had it, right?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, I mean, we still, you know, like Dozier got kidnapped by the Red Brigade, but it didn't really matter.
Right.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, the Red Brigade went after military personnel. They didn't go after kids, and they weren't, doing the public bombing. But still, it was just,
Yeah, they did kill
that's
the
a,
Italian president Aldo Moro.
you know,
Yeah, that was.
but yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what it's like for the kids now. I'm sure they
Yeah.
don't have. You know who would be probably a good guy to do a podcast with?
Oh, he wasn't the
Is
president. He was a statesman.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Um,
38th Prime Minister of Italy.
uh,
Okay. Go on. Who were you thinking?
Joe Coffino.
Mm,
He was I think he was the class of 78 or 79, but his parents were in charge of the dorms.
okay.
So
You knew about those dorms. There was nobody in the dorms when you got there, I don't think.
oh no, I heard because I think Derek was saying that the dorms closed up like in 80 or something like that. So
Hmm.
so I think they closed up like
That became
right
like
after,
Zaborik's office and other stuff. They
right.
turned it into little parts of this extension of the school, right outside the
Right.
cafeteria, right there.
Oh, I thought the dorms were on the edge of the 40, like right
Hmm.
by the photo lab where the photo lab was, and
That was a different place. They were right
oh,
across from where the team. If you went looked at the team club straight across the street,
uh-huh.
that building used to be the dorms. Because I
Oh,
moved there in
okay.
'72, there was dorms then.
Yeah.
So there was more like kids from further away schools that were coming there,
Mhm.
right? But it's it'd be nice to see you reunite with some of your friends that you haven't seen in a while.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
get
I would
all
definitely.
we get all busy with our life. We're like, oh
Well,
yeah,
that's
one more. You're doing insurance. I was doing real estate. One more sale, one more listing, like Teddy Spittle, or like
yeah.
you, one more policy. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, it's 10 years later. Like, oh shit, where'd my
Well,
buddies go?
it's like like I said, my son's graduated college. He's doing his own thing, so I don't have to, take him to this sporting event or that sporting event or this school function or that school function. So my time is my own now. So it's like that was one of the reasons why partly because of I wanted to get back in touch with
Yourself,
um, yeah, yeah,
right?
seriously.
Yeah, because
I'm no
you're
longer.
giving as a parent this whole time.
Oh
That
yeah,
that your self focus is too selfish
oh,
to have,
right.
right?
Yeah, I'm no longer Connor's dad. Um,
Sean, my brother has a son named Connor too.
uh,
Popular name, yeah.
yeah, we thought it was going to be an unusual name when we did it, but it was pretty popular at the
Hmm.
time. So didn't realize that, but
Connor McGregor
uh,
helps it too.
yeah, nowadays, yeah,
Well, it's
but
so, but now you have your you time back. Like, who am I?
yeah,
I become
yeah.
this
So
machine. I wanted first. I was a horse running in the field, eating hay. Next thing you know, I was put on they put a little saddle on me. I gave someone a ride. Next thing you know, they strapped me to a carriage, and I've been towing this sucker for 20-something years. Wait a second. What about running around in the field a little bit? You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm about to be put out to the pasture. So
Well, it's time to do you.
yeah,
Did you have
yeah.
any plans? Like a lot of people have grand plans. Like I'll have my 401k up to this point, and I'll travel and we'll live over here. And I have a friend that's like, because I've basically been retired for like 7 years.
Oh
So
wow, lucky you.
yeah, from the VA. So it's not exactly like a retirement like you're working towards. It's a different kind.
Mhm.
But I'm grateful to have it. But I'll say this: it's like you, you work. I have friends that I stay busy with my hobbies like this. This is my
Mhm.
hobby. I don't need to
Right.
work. But I'll say that there's people that my friends going, oh, once I stop working at Intel, I'm going to play endless golf. I'm like, let's see how long that shit lasts. I know what
Right.
endless golf looks like already. It's like, I'm going to keep eating everything from the buffet. You'll eat that buffet so much that you'll get sick of it and never want to eat anything that they serve ever again. Kind of like cruise ship food. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that, once we retire, we'd like to do go traveling, my wife, when she was younger, she was her dad was in the Marines. So, she lived in Okinawa and she'd been to Europe and stuff like that. So, um, so she'd seen a lot as well. But we would like to travel, Europe again, see it through, different eyes, and also visit a lot of the parts of the United States, because she hasn't really seen. She's been up and down the East Coast, but she hasn't really seen much of.
You're
She's
taking
been
her
to
to
California.
Monterey yet?
She's been to California. She's been to California a couple of times for work, um, and but neither one of us has been to Texas, so we'd like to do Texas, and go out. She wants to see the redwoods in California.
Oh yeah,
So
there's a lot to see. You can't
oh yeah,
just get here on a business trip. You have no clue what
oh
you're seeing.
oh no,
Yeah.
oh no, no.
And this place has
But
kept me busy for years. Like,
oh
oh,
yeah, I
skiing
mean,
up in the mountains, redwoods, ocean, beach,
right.
desert. It's got it all.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there's plenty to see and do, and um, I wouldn't mind going back and visiting Monterey. I liked Monterey, and
It's a great place.
um,
A
yeah,
lot of Vicenza people reconnect at Monterey because a lot of people went to DLI, Defense Language Institute, which
right,
some people were officers and they have a officer war college there. They might have been doing some advanced studies, TDY there.
right,
So there's a lot of, and there's also the Army Presidio. So there's that
right. And
combination.
right, and there's also Fort Ord, which was the 7th Infantry Division, but that's now closed. But that's where we were stationed. We were stationed at Fort Ord, um, which is right next to which was right next to Monterey. Um, so
I've talked to a few people. David Dinges, he was there. There was quite a few people that were there. I was there. I know that my other friends have gone through there. There's 4 or 5 or 6 people I might have talked to that might have been there at one point in time.
right.
You know,
But it's funny because a lot of people, like Derek said, that he lived in Heidelberg. They're like, wow, I lived in Heidelberg too. So it's just like, it's people have been to pretty much the same places for the most part.
well, there's probably another Vicenza Cougar that you knew living within a 100-mile radius that you haven't thought about and have passed on the freeway and walked in one door as they were walking out another at the
Oh,
supermarket. You
oh
know,
yeah, oh yeah. I'm sure. I mean, there's so many. Like I didn't know Mike Doliani lived in Sterling, which isn't very far from me. Until there's a lot of, and Lori Adams lives in D.C. So I mean, there's a lot of, and then there's people that came before me or after me, um, that live in this area, like Joe Cafano. Uh, he he actually refs hockey, so he refed a lot of my son's hockey games,
oh
and
wow,
so every time he was roughing Connor's game, we'd always talk after the game and kind of hook up and stuff. So
that's pretty neat. You've had some.
yeah,
I ran
yeah,
into people briefly, like Rich Collins. My 2 buddies, Mark Parkins and Kevin Merritt, came out to visit me a couple times, 2, 3 times at least. You know, um, they both Mark lived here at one time and Kevin was stationed here at one time while I was stationed here. And we always joke like we probably just passed each other, but we didn't have
right,
Facebook, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have a
right,
designated number. He was in the Air Force, I was over in the Navy. You can't really picture in your brain. I remember trying to use your imagination, your psychic powers, trying to figure out where somebody might be. And that's
right.
before this internet and before, I mean, phone calls state to state used to be a ton of money, if you recall.
Oh yeah, I
Right?
think there was a there was a rumor. I don't know who it was, but they threw a party, and people were, for whatever reason, were calling the states, their friends back in the states during this party, and they had like a $2,000 phone bill or something like that.
Oh
Because
yeah, oh yeah.
so
I remember calling overseas, calling my first wife from the Philippines. I'd write it down on a list. like, here's the questions, and I'd knock it out in 5 minutes. It was $8 a
Right.
minute. You know, it was like mega dollars.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you're like, hey, so how's this? How's this? How's tricks? How's this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, good, 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 great, great, great. Okay, talk to you later. See when I get back. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I constantly was teasing my son because he had a long distance relationship, and so he was on the phone, talking to her on the cell phone. It was like, you don't know how good you have it. It was like when your mother and I were dating, I was going to school in Rhode Island and she was going to school down here in Virginia, and we would talk to each other on the phone, and we would run, $300 and $400 a month phone bills, which in the mid '80s was quite a bit of money. And we would talk to each other at night, and we would after we hang up the phone, we'd immediately go to sleep, and then we'd wake up suddenly thinking, "Oh my God, we fell asleep on each other, and the phone bill's just racking up."
Oh yeah,
So,
like that was like an old. There was this book about revenge. You didn't like somebody, how to get even with them. Break into their house and call time in Japan while they're on vacation and leave the phone off the hook. Come back with a $48,000 phone bill. No, Hichiwa, konnichiwa. Yeah, no, I don't know how to speak Japanese, but
right.
that would be, yeah, like, oh, I accidentally called time in Japan and left the phone off the hook. Been going for hours. We've kept every second and we paid for it. Good.
So did you play anything else other than football?
I played football. I was in competitive swimming. I took judo when I was younger at some judo school off the base. Mainly I liked individual, like running. I liked that. I never did track, but I did have the ability to run very good long distance. That's just because you had to walk and run everywhere. I skied a lot. I definitely skied a lot. So I found myself in individual sports, skiing, running, swimming, that was kind of what I gravitated towards. But then judo, I liked martial arts. But later on, I mean, we only did the judo thing for a couple of years, and I couldn't appreciate it because we were going 5 times a week, like serious Olympic training, not even thinking about it. And it helped in a few brawls for sure, but it wasn't being taught to be a hard art, like whoop somebody's ass. If you had to learn that you had to rotate the arm a little bit more and choke a little bit harder, and now you had a street fighting tool, once you figure that out. But no, our parents put us in a lot of stuff, pee-wee basketball, pee-wee football, and then, playing football in high school. And I played basketball for a while, but I just lost the love of I wanted to just go be free and party and have fun. Around 7th, 8th grade, I didn't have any aspirations. I joined football to take the trips.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I didn't have an illusion that I was going to end up on the Dallas Cowboys based on some, 8-man football.
Right.
Didn't look very likely. And it wasn't really a program. Like if you see football in America, probably even hockey, like your son, they have a serious program, like who gets picked.
Oh, right? Yeah. My son did travel hockey, and, and even in this area, it was pretty competitive. The parents were pretty intense and stuff like that, and it's even more so, in New England. And
we need you to make it in hockey to get us out of this house, son. You need to bring in some money. I'm joking. Hockey players don't get paid as much as basketball players.
No.
They're not likely to make a difference. It's just pride at this point.
Well, that was one of the things that the coaches would always say at the beginning of the season was, if you're looking for your kid to get a D1 scholarship for hockey, you're in the wrong area. There's just the skill level in the area is not good enough, even if your kid's good.
Yeah.
The people that he's playing against aren't going to be good enough to make them better to the point of getting a D1 scholarship. If you really want to do that, you got to move. So, but he was in it. He was in it for fun. He played on a club team for Virginia Tech, and he's now in an adult league hockey team. So he still loves it. But
my godfather coaches the women's hockey team at Harvard, I believe.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I don't know him very well. I just know that that's your godfather. Okay, cool. But hey, thanks, buddy. Hey, good job over there at Harvard. I haven't made it to any games, but it is. We had a lot of family in the States. When I was a little kid, it felt like we were super close. But we moved overseas from 72 on. So my uncles and them were like, your dad's a big shot. Yet they were the ones that had all these businesses. some of the first video stores. They were doing filming, and they had, they were creative. They were very good, but they bought nice houses. They flipped houses. They did it all. We're just over there paying rent in Italy. We were not doing any entrepreneurial fast forward motion, So
How long did,
Hmm?
I'm sorry,
go ahead, ask.
how long did your dad stay there? Did he stay after you guys, after you and your
About
brother?
2000, like 98 or 2000, something like that.
Oh,
98, I
wow.
think. Yeah. Say 98, I'm guessing. My brother would know better. But that's quite a bit of time. 72
Oh, yeah.
to, 82, 92. Yeah. Like 28, 32 years, something like that.
Oh, that's almost my teeth,
Yeah.
it's my teeth level.
It was a coveted billet because you get subsidized housing. So a lot of teachers lived, better than teachers in the States. But then, the pay was like, you could either take your pay during the season, or the months that you had off, you'd be no pay for the
Right.
summer holiday, basically. So you have to save.
Also, you didn't have to deal with any really true troublemakers either, because
Yeah, there was some. You're talking to one. Yeah.
no, nothing real serious.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't.
It wasn't as bad as that movie with Matt Dillon, Over the Edge. But if you watch that movie from '79, there's a little bit of that. Yeah. I would say overall the kids were pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I remember one time there was a couple of guys acting up, and was it Kleb? Yeah, I think it was Kleb. Said, look, if you act up one more time, I'm not going to give you detention. I'm not sending you to Drac's office. I'm going to call your dad. You can explain to him at 3:30 why you were disrupting my class.
Yeah.
And of course, it was they didn't say a word afterwards, because they didn't want to have their dad come down.
He's like, the Draculus motivational stick is not working right now. I must reach for higher rank.
Oh yeah.
Let's go with this.
Right.
That's funny.
But they didn't say it worked because they didn't say a thing for the rest of the week.
What a trip.
So,
No, I get it. No, there was a lot of stuff. There was some underbelly and dark side to things, but I never put them out here. I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus.
Oh no,
that.
That's why I didn't mention.
But people will allude to my mischievous nature. Was I the worst? Maybe not, but the reputation grew beyond me for stuff I didn't even do at times. So a lot of fake news. I'm like, wow, I did that. I didn't believe I did that. I wasn't even there. You become this character. But no, I grew up, and now I teach macrame to retirees. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that. But no, I podcast, man. I just bring you guys all back together to find people. So who do you want to see come on? You told me earlier, but I'll ask you again now that you've talked a little bit and some other names came up.
Well, I asked if Teddy was going to do it. He said he didn't want to do it.
Why, Teddy?
He said that basically everybody knows his story. So
we do not. We do not know the depths of Teddy. Not till I interrogate him.
That's what I said. I was like, everybody wants to know the inner Teddy. He's like, no.
You can't handle the Teddy. Is that?
Yeah. I know you did Radcliffe's. Those would have been pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Flint.
Lori Adams might be pretty good because it looks like she's done some interesting things. She worked, according to her Facebook page, I'm being a stalker here, but she was like doing Oxfam and stuff like that. So looks like she's been on some wild adventures. So she would probably be.
She was adventurous. She used to be a pretty damn good skier, if I recall.
Oh yeah, she was. She was very good.
The whole family, Sam and her.
Yeah. Sam was really. Yeah, Sam was really good. One time, we decided it was me, Donaldson, and Cuddy and Sam. We decided we were going to go off the trail a little bit, and go skiing through the woods. And Sam was up in front, and we were kind of going curving in and out, and so we were kind of losing sight of
traversing. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, we were going through curves and stuff. So
okay. So you lose each other in the turn.
Right. So we would lose sight of each other, and all of a sudden we heard Sam yell, "Oh shit!" And we're like, "Oh, we're screwed," because if he's saying "Oh shit," we're going to be totally screwed. But it was just a drop that caught him off guard that wasn't that big, but I thought I was done for because because if Sam was cussing, I was
He
like,
was such a high level. You're like,
oh
well,
yeah,
I'm gonna try to keep up with this guy. I don't know if I
right,
can.
right,
He was really high level. He was really advanced. I was a
oh,
decent skier, but I would say Sam was definitely high level. I'm not gonna make some
oh yeah,
fake bragging rights in retrospect that'll do me nothing today. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
uh,
no, Sam was an excellent skier, and that was his specialty. I think he lives up in the mountains. He might. I'm not sure. I know he was
yeah,
doing some big banking stuff in England or something, and he might have moved to Austria.
yeah. I heard he a while ago was overseas, but I don't know where he is now.
Well,
That's one thing. Go ahead.
you gotta reach out and push Flint on here. Our man
All
Flint.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
peer
I'll,
pressure. Taser him. Taser
I'll
him
do it
and
right
Teddy. Get a taser going on.
now. All right. Yeah, I'll send Flynn a message saying he's got to do your podcast.
This thing makes me reach because I knew a lot of you guys. We had some little moments. We have to remember exactly what they were, but you had
Hmm.
more time with Flint and more time with Cuddy because they lived in
Right.
your neighborhood. So you'd spend a whole
Right.
weekend with them, see me at the bus stop for 5 minutes on the way over there, or
Right.
pass a beer to me at a party and me go
Right.
into the other room, and that would
Right.
be this like transition all the time, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you were a few years back too. So, but
I was class
yeah.
86.
Oh, yeah. So yeah. So you're a couple of years back, but um, yeah, I think that was you that asked me to
The lifeguard table.
yeah.
Yeah. Who
That
else?
was
Who else was lifeguarding? Blonde guy, Brent Bendick. Was he lifeguarding or?
I don't think no, I don't think the let's see. I'm trying to like my summer of my junior.
Was David Dinges lifeguarding with you?
No, I don't think so.
Patty Boudreau.
Mm-mm.
I'm just
I
telling you,
don't,
people I've lifeguarded with. So
yeah, Lori was a lifeguard. Denise Miller was a lifeguard.
yeah, Denise was
Uh,
there. Yeah, I was
yeah,
talking to her the other day. That's so you were there for that pool party with Denise.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
you guys were the same age, or she was a year older than you.
yeah, yeah. Denise was a year older than me.
Hmm. So if she was a senior, that's the year we had the epic pool party where we're jumping bicycles into the swimming pool
Oh
and
yeah,
bringing all the stray dogs and letting them loose and having deer everywhere from Foodland. Yes. Now that's education right there. But
yeah. That was the year where you could taste the beer in the pool.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
great one. We were jumping those bicycles off the diving board. People had a bunch of bicycles. You know those Italian bikes? If you let
Oh
like
yeah.
people were pedaling them under the water because if you release that center, they're meant to be folded. So you
Uh-huh.
release the central hinge and you're driving it sideways in the water underneath. You're pedaling it. And you can put it by you sideways. It was crazy. Now I remember
Yeah.
that, and I remember Freddie being there, his friend Norbert, Mark Parkins. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were there. Denise was there. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim Hammett was a lifeguard. Mike Hammett was a lifeguard. Glenn Gordon was.
Glenn
Um,
Gordon, maybe that's who I was thinking of. Glenn Gordon.
um, Sean Smith was. Lauren Brown was a lifeguard.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, Lauren Barham.
Barham, yeah.
Yeah,
Chris Bram was a lifeguard. Cuddy and Donaldson were.
the lifeguard gang.
Yeah, John Hack. Basically, yeah, that whole corner was all lifeguards.
Yeah, that was the summer we had that guy. That's when I had his glasses. That was a good time.
That was 80. That was the summer of '84 because
That was a blast. That was
yeah,
16.
83 was Kohut.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was
Because it wasn't Kohat that year, 84. So 83 had to be
no.
Kohat.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Kohut was 82.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kohut was 82. Yes, that's right. Kohut was 82. 83 was the guy you were talking about, and then
The NCOIC guy that.
yeah. Now that you mentioned, yeah. Also, because I mean, if you think about it, there was 350 students from 7th through 12th.
Right.
So so 175 girls, and so if you're a junior or the junior or senior, you're not going to mess with the 7th or 8th graders, and so that limits it down. And then you're left with girls that
All the other guys that already met the girl that you might have liked. Yeah.
right,
Right.
and
Right.
then
Right.
or so there's the girl that you like, but she doesn't like you. And then
there's the
girl
60s, and I think there was more guys than girls in many cases.
I'm sure there was.
I think so. Yeah.
And then the girl, then
there was the GIs, and then there was
right.
the guys back from college.
Which right.
They're coming down from University of Maryland, right? And
right.
Right.
And then there's the girls that were like your sister that you wouldn't even think about.
Right. Right. Your sister's friend's brother, your best friend's sister. You're like, okay. So yeah. There was so many. It's like trying to you do insurance. So it's like underwriting with a million conditions to get something approved. Like, none of these files are going to get underwritten.
Right. So
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Right? So but I mean, people still hooked up. People still, they still people hooked up for either, became boyfriend, girlfriend, or just hooked up temporarily, and okay, that was fun, and then went their merry way.
Yeah.
So
that was part of the game.
Yeah.
It was not so, dating was rather hard there for all the years I lived there, because I felt like everybody knew your business, and I was like, I'm not going to get in the middle of this. And then, I guess I acted a certain way. Girls thought, he already has a girlfriend or something. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't. But a lot of assumptions. People were just making assumptions upon assumptions. Right. And also, and like I said, a lot of it was proximity. I think if you lived in Villaggio, it would be easier to find someone to date or whatever, as a young guy, because you had more Americans per capita. Italian girls were very old school. Not a lot of guys in our high school dated many, if any, Italian girls, because their dad would lock them up. Like, we're locking you up. You're not going out. Those naughty American boys are around. So that wouldn't happen. You know? And like you said, like we talked earlier about posturing. Hey, how you doing? No. Right. Tradition. Right. Yeah. Oh, you don't know about tradition? Well, then you don't know about nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Even you remember going to the discos and the Italian girls would dance 3 in a group and not let you in the circle? Does that sound familiar? You ever seen that situation? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the circle of chastity, whatever you want to call it. So there was no, you could go to nightclubs, but you weren't picking up girls.
Right.
Wasn't happening. You would just do something stupid like, jump in some bushes or whatever you did and have a story to tell on Monday at the snack bar or over by the teen club. So you spent some time at the teen club too, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the dances. Like I said, I didn't go to the trips, but I went to the dances. Went into a lot of those, and actually, I went to. I got a funny story where I took Lori Adams to homecoming our sophomore year. Never danced in my life, and poor girl, I must have stomped on her feet all night long.
So were they playing all night long as you did stamp on her feet?
No, all night long came on a couple of years after that. But
damn it, you were a little early. Go on.
Yeah. Afterwards, I apologized, profusely about stepping on her feet, and she was gracious and said, "No, you didn't." And I'm sure she could barely walk the next day. Anyway, going to the teen dances and stuff like that, she and I had a dance together our senior year. We just did a friendly dance, and she made the comments like, "Oh, you're a much better dancer now."
Been taking lessons from Chaz out in Villaggio in the backyard.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, so because I didn't step on her feet, that time. But yeah, poor girl. I mean, she just I crushed her toes.
Hey, there was no instruction manual. There was not too many guys that had it all figured out. Some guys did, but the majority didn't. Oh
yeah, well, I am not the most coordinated guy to begin with, so.
Well, now we know the secret into Lori's toes. Yeah, but it didn't seem to hurt that bad. But that is a dangerous thing to step on a woman's toes.
Oh yeah.
So you want her to possibly come on the podcast?
Yeah, I just think I think she would just be interesting just because of the things she did, and I think she was there for a while as well. I mean, I don't know how long she was. I know her dad was a civilian.
Yeah, they lived out kind of near me.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
So
Her,
So I
Sam, and
think,
Sony. Yeah.
yeah, because I know her parents were talking about trying to buy a house up in the in the Dolomites, and kind of retiring there. But
Yep.
they were having problems buying a house up there because of they were Americans and they didn't want to
Yeah.
sell to Americans. But um, and I know my dad said that they lived in Germany, then stayed there for a bit, and then went back to Germany for a while. So after um, Lori, Sam, and Sony um, graduated, but
Well, he ended up in England. I think he lives in Austria. So that's where Sam is. I don't,
yeah,
Lori's near you. You got to reach out, say hi. I think some of these podcasts, once they see it, they're going to want to like meet up with you. You know, it's like I'm doing one, supposed to do one with Carrie Stokes. And that's for, I sent out because one of our generals is over there. Or she's like, who do you want to see? She's like, oh, get, Carrie Stokes on. So Carrie Stokes, your number's up. We got you. A lot of your buddies haven't come on yet. So you're kind of breaking ground for that little crew. I haven't had Chaz respond to me yet, or I talked to Flint briefly. Mike Cuddy, I don't know where he is on Facebook. I haven't kept in touch with him.
yeah. I don't think he's on Facebook. And like I said,
He might
didn't
never
seem
want to
like,
talk about Vicenza again. He's just
yeah.
telling everybody, yeah, I just grew up here. I think once you
Mhm.
tell some people your stories of Italy, they think you're a bullshit artist. That's
Oh yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh,
like,
they can't relate unless you've lived overseas, or it's hard to relate to the stories that we had. I told them about the communist rallies, how they when I first got there was a communist rally and they were throwing rocks at the base, and then 3 years later they were going to do another rally, but they had to cancel it because nobody wanted to do it. Lack of interest. So it's like trying to explain to them the whims of the Italian people. And
I used to go
so.
play quarters at a communist bar off post on the
Oh,
way
did
to
you?
Villaggio. Yeah, Stonga. And you walk past the pizzeria and there's the church. There's the wall
Oh,
where the
okay.
church where we used to drink in the churchyard.
Uh-huh.
And to the left was a little bar. It was a communist bar. We just walk
I
in there.
didn't
What's
know
up? And they're like, "Ma." I spoke Italian. Like what? And they're like wondering, what the fuck are Americans doing here? We would play.
that.
We were playing quarters in there. We'd bring our own beer in sports bags and buy a couple of Moretti's and then play quarters with this beer till we were just absolutely housed. And we knew that no MPs or anyone were going to come looking for us in a communist bar.
Right.
We had no interest in their politics. We're just
Right.
visiting, you
Mhm.
know.
Did they
And
leave you alone, or did they?
yeah, they didn't say shit to us. I think it was that
Okay.
American edge, you know. So that is what it was. They never screwed with us. I spoke Italian, so
Hmm.
there was nothing to worry about. But there was also the carnival. Did you used to go to the carnival downtown?
Oh yeah, I love that. I mean, you could never do that here in the States. Doing the swing where you get your buddy behind you would kick you out so you could get the raccoon sail, so you get a free ride, or bumper cars where you could go in any direction.
Yeah,
You know, I love those bumper cars, but you'd come back, you'd get out of that and you'd be like totally whiplashed and beat to hell. And then there was that ride where it was a circle, but it would kind of go up at a,
that's the one. That's called the
yeah,
Tagada.
yeah.
We
Oh,
used to we
okay.
used to get in fights on that thing. We'd have us versus Jazz. We'd go stand in the middle after we've been drinking a bit and jump
Oh,
up
yeah.
into the air with it, get like 10 feet and like dive
Uh-huh.
on the other guy, let it launch us. Like we were
Uh-huh.
just not really thinking for, based on centrifugal force, I'll probably land somewhere in the middle of this hard
Oh, yeah.
floor. Because the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
was not designed like ever see that one where they put the shoulder straps and you're
Oh,
in the
yeah,
thing and
yeah.
it spins, or it's the
Right.
wall that spins that's so fast that you're on the wall. You can
Right.
wall crawl, but this was like that, but there was no safety belts, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure that thing couldn't have thrown somebody over and out of that son of a gun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Looking back on that, I mean, but again, I guess, times are different. Like, just like, in playgrounds nowadays, you can't have a seesaw or the merry-go-round or anything like that. But, oh, yeah, I love that. What's it called again?
Tagada. Yeah,
Tagada? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to love that thing. Yeah, you try to stand in the middle, you can never do it, and you slide down and crash into people who
Yeah,
were
you're getting slammed against the wall, somebody's feet.
oh yeah,
Yeah, those good times.
oh yeah. The next day, my neck would be sore, my back would be sore, my ribs would be sore. but it was a blast. I loved going down there.
Yeah, that was a fun
Oh,
time during football
mhm.
season. Usually, we'd go down there and they'd have it down by the train station.
Right.
So they had that Tagada, and we'd buy these little kegs. They're like 5 liters.
Uh-huh.
So we just pop the top and drink it straight out of the keg, and just getting a great time down there. I loved it. There was that, and then there was, of course, the 4th of July carnival on Post.
Oh yeah.
That was a blast.
Yeah.
So
I
carnivals.
had
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, it was kind of fun was um kind of going with the hookup and going on your own way. One of the girl came up to me during the 4th of July party, walked me in the middle of the North 40, tripped me and started kissing me, and the fireworks went off, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I'm kissing a girl, and the fireworks are going off."
Oh yeah, it was a big
Like,
deal. I
yeah,
was,
so
I
sort of
was winning the
like
lottery that
introduced.
day. It's like winning a free
Yeah.
Happies burger.
Oh yeah. So, but it was just kind of. I just thought it was kind of funny, just like in the movies, you're kissing a girl and the fireworks go off. So I just thought
When
that
all
was.
those elements connect at once,
Oh yeah.
right?
So
So you used a judo flip to get you into makeout position. Fantastic.
she tripped me and I landed on the ground. I'm like, what? She,
You're so stuck up. No, I'm not. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
and
you're
she
playing hard to get. I get your game now. I know. I
yeah,
understand the Mr. Inglesby game.
yeah, no,
Oh, well, that's the magic moments of life. You can,
no, no,
no matter how much work you do, you can't buy that moment back.
no, no.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's a good experience to share.
Yeah,
So
no,
when
no.
you,
Go ahead.
so do you do that a lot now still, or
Do what?
make out with ladies at the carnival?
No, no. I've been
I'm
married for
messing with you.
27.
I'm messing with you. Sorry, I had to get all abstract with you. I like
Yeah,
to hit people
no,
with my deadpan humor. Surely you
yeah,
must be joking. Yeah.
yeah. Quit calling me Shirley.
Yeah, exactly. You know that one. Right. But that's just the great end. But did you leave Vicenza with dreams and aspirations of becoming anything or picking your career, or how did
Um,
it unfold for you from there?
I wasn't. I want. I wanted to be a police officer,
Hmm.
but that didn't work out. By the time I graduated, the economy was in a recession. Nobody was hiring. Um,
Yeah.
you had, they'd have like,
I've been in that cycle. I went to take a test and there was 250 people for one job, and a couple of them were, you know, shaking hands and nodding to the captain like
you know,
they had the connection, and I was like, it ain't happening.
yeah. So, and then unfortunately, I did a couple of stupid things in college that prevented me from getting in onto right out of the gate, prevented me. So,
Streaking through the quad to the gymnasium?
no, no, I did some other things. So,
That's cool. Way to party,
um,
dude. When you jumped your
yeah,
car over the teacher's lounge, I get it, but it's all good.
yeah. So, um,
I'm not trying to get you to confess.
yeah.
I'm having fun.
I mean, nothing too illegal, but just enough to
Just
bring
enough
me
back then that it was like the scarlet letter. Today, it's not a scarlet letter.
right. And
So, it was
with
a matter. You probably could have went back and get everything expunged or whatever, and
oh
gone
no, I
back
never
and been
was.
a cop. You could have been a cop, but
No,
you
I
you
mean, I
just
did.
like lost interest in the timing. It kind of the window. I did.
Yeah,
I could have went back and been one easily. Just the
yeah,
window to do it out here because it pays
right.
so much in California. Cops make a lot of dough. My friend's buddy made 450,000 a year
Oh
last
wow,
year as a sheriff.
doing a lot of
San
overtime.
Francisco, all overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stayed at corporal, so he can work all the overtime. If he went to
Oh
sergeant, he couldn't
geez.
do it. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Like
um.
base, it's just imagine of his income, about 270,000 of it's overtime or more.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So it didn't work out, but who I'm kind of of the belief things happen for a reason. So
well, you
yeah,
can look at it now and maybe you decide, hey, maybe I'm glad that didn't work out. You know,
yeah. I mean, who knows how it would have. Being a police officer is a rough job, and I
right?
don't know
It
if
is
that would have affected me in the hours and stuff like that, and how that would affect my marriage and
for sure.
and then also being able to watch my kid do his stuff, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, watching him play his sports and his activities and stuff like that. So,
Well, it
you know,
works. It works out.
oh yeah,
There's things that you might have wanted to be when you were a kid, and then you see somebody who's been that person,
hmm
and you realize, oh, like you might have a friend who's a movie star, and all of a sudden when you realize all the trials and tribulations. First, you're like, I'd love those problems. As you get older, you're like, I would never enjoy those problems.
right,
Boy, that what a horrible life. You're a star one day, then nobody cares about you the next day, but
yeah,
you're working at Walmart now as a greeter, but you were like on that show. No, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but you were on that show. Yeah, but I'm working at Walmart. Do you get it? I mean,
right,
it happens. It's not to make fun of Walmart, but I'm just saying to
right. No, I get you.
fall from a high
So,
tower, right?
right.
So that happens to everybody. Not everybody's had a perfect life, but they've got
Oh
some
no.
badass Facebook profiles. What does that mean? Just a bunch of pictures.
Yeah,
Everybody's had their struggles. We've all had to leave and adapt to a new environment. Not
right,
anybody had a perfect fit. They've had some good moments, but still there's always adapting because you had what was your foundation. We've never stopped being the Rolling Stone in a way, you
right.
know. So you'll get back out there and get moving around, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You know, after you retire here shortly, then
Eh,
you'll go,
got about, I got
hmm,
about 10 more years.
10 more years.
Yeah.
You probably could retire now. I give you permission. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh man, it's been a great podcast.
Appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun going down memory lane.
Well, everybody, make sure to check this out. And if you have not been on the podcast, be sure to give us your name or we will hunt you down and get you on the podcast. That's how it works.
Sounds good.